Welcome to autumn! All this rain's doing wonders for the nut trees. We have catkins on the cob nuts. We have loads of new green buds and even some luminous new green leaves. And even the sweet chestnuts have opened up. They're no good, of course. These things are completely hollow because they just haven't had enough water this year, but they're in the ground now, and so hopefully next year we will actually have some nuts we can harvest and eat. The flock has expanded again. We now have Montague here. So Monty is our new Norfolk Horn ram, and he's looking lovely. Now Monty is from a very prestigious breeder, so he is literally like show stock. And I think you can see, if you look at Montague and then you look at Capulet, just how good Montague is. Beautiful white horns, beautiful black face, black legs. Well, October is here, and with it, wind, rain, more wind, more rain. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a market farm garden tour. So it seems a little bit silly talking about the market garden when we're just heading into winter and there's not a lot of stuff there, but I have been working on it. We're just going to go down this ditch. And you might have seen little bits of footage just here and there at the beginning and the end of filming. So I thought I would show you around, show you the site, show you what I've been doing, and kind of talk maybe a little bit about some of the plans. So originally we just thought, here's a field, let's take a small corner of the field and turn it into the market garden. But as with everything, I completely underestimated the size. And though in comparison with the field, this is quite a small area, it feels quite big when we start to lay things out. So let me take you along here and you can see exactly what we're working with. So this is the entire site, all the way down, and then it comes all the way up here. And for the market garden itself, we're using a very tried and trusted method that I read from The Market Garden by Jean-Martin Fortier. And I've been reading that book over and over and over, and it seems to be great. So we're using that as a kind of our standard. So we've got 50-foot beds, and then we plant basically 75 centimetre beds, 45 centimetre walkway in the middle, another 75, 45 centimetre, 75, etc. So that's how we're laying it out. So you can see this is 50 foot along here, and then if we back up, we've probably got another 20, 15 foot here. So all in all, we're probably about 65 to 70 feet in length, in width rather. But then if I take you along here, it doesn't stop. It keeps going. So everything you can see behind me will be market garden, and it'll be laid out as beds. So there's quite a lot to do. Over here, oh, I can never do my finger. Over here is going to be the polytunnels. So polytunnels are going to go right over here. I'm going to get a couple of smaller ones. And we've got the muck heap here. So the muck heap is here. So the polytunnels will go here, and the muck heap's going to be this whole section. And the main reason for that is because though we have the chickens in the electric fence over in this field, I am going to keep the purebred chickens in movable coops down here. And so I thought, well, it's probably best to have a muck heap here so I can trundle stuff up and forth. Also, the barn is over there, so then I can bring muck from the barn back this way too. And then finally, let me take you to where we are hoping to put the flowers. right here where this heap of compost is and all of this stick. But I think it'll be quite nice, the drive is over here, I think it'll be quite nice to have all of this as flower, and then the market garden, the veggie patch of the market garden rolling out that way, the polytunnels down here, and then the muck heap right at the very end. So the keen-eyed of you may have spotted that amongst this soil there is actually some planting. And you're right, we have planted some. So we have some little kales, some tiny little kales, and over here we have some winter lettuces. So this largely is a dummy run. I'm not expecting the vast majority of these crops to make it. I sowed them at the beginning to mid-August. They were growing at home. What else am I going to do with them? They need to go somewhere, so they need to go out. So it's basically a test run to see what happens. We have the electric fencing, and that is really important. It's obviously not on at the moment. But we have deer, we have rabbit, we have hare, we have mice. And one of the things, obviously, in working with nature and doing regenerative agriculture and permaculture things is you're not killing animals, but then that means that you're going to have some pests come in. So we've got the electric fencing, but as I say, I'm expecting some stuff to probably come through the electric fencing. Again, in terms of frost, cold, I don't know whether these crops are going to make it. So really this is a test run. It's a test run to see, do the pests come and get them? What's the weather like here? Because we've moved up to Suffolk. We're kind of out on a big hump on the edge of the UK. And I've already realised it's a lot windier and a lot wetter. And I'm expecting, I know from forecasts in the past, I'm expecting heavier frosts and things. So what's the weather like? What's the sun aspect like? How is the actual planting medium here? So all these little test things are going to go on. And if I didn't do it at all, come spring, I'd be launching a market garden with no idea how anything is going to grow. At least this way, I've got a small dummy run. And, you know, I've planted, I think there's like 150 kale and 70 lettuces. And I've still got some Swiss chard to come out. And I've also got some spinach to come out. So there's the potential, if some things go right, that I can actually offer some farm gate bundles of veggies and things. But really, as I say, dummy run, guinea pig, these are very sacrificial crops. One of the other things that I've been working on is the hedgerow alongside the market garden. And you might wonder, why is that hedgerow important at all? And firstly, it's important, obviously, because of it's encroaching upon the market garden. You can see here we've cut down here, and this was where it was. But the main reason is, again, biodiversity. And I have mentioned this before. If you look at this hedge, you can see it is so holy. There is nowhere for little birds, little songbirds and things to make nests that's protected. The magpies and the rooks will just come straight into here and just strip out any of the nests. What you really want is a nice dense hedge, especially down the bottom, so that all those little songbirds and song thrushes and blue tits and things can make their nests. Because what do they eat? Caterpillars and bugs, especially when they're feeding their young. And they're right next to the market garden. So I really want them to be nesting in here and flitting back and forth and stripping all of the nasties off my crops. So that's one thing that I have been doing. However, now it's turned to autumn, I've kind of stopped because we have all of these wonderful berries. Again, and this is bird food for the winter months, so I don't want to take this off yet. So this is probably going to be like a January, February job now, because I don't want to strip any of the potential berries and food and things off that the birds might enjoy. So that's one major thing that is happening at the moment. I'm quite excited to get this hedgerow all cut back. As you can see, it's really nice here. It probably will need cutting back even more, but you don't want to be too harsh on it initially. So I'm just taking it back. Eventually also I will take off some of the height, but for now it's a big job to cut all of that back. And then while we're on the subject of wildlife, imagine there are polytunnels behind me here. At the foot of the polytunnel, we're going to have a pond. Not a big pond, it's just going to be a very small little wildlife pond that frogs, toads, newts, etc. can live in. Because again, I want them in the middle of the night to be coming out and leaping around all my veggies and eating weevils and caterpillars and slugs and snails. A friend, well, Molly, you've heard me talk of Molly before and you saw her in the goat video where the goats arrived. Molly's donating a pond, so we're going to collect that at some point. That's going to go in here, right in front of the polys, and then it also means at night I can leave those polytunnels open because while the birds are going to come across and strip caterpillars and things from the crops, they're unlikely to go into polytunnels. Frogs, toads, etc. won't care at all. So on those lovely balmy nights, we can leave the polytunnel doors open, and then they can come out of the pond, go in and eat all the nasties. So as you can see, there is vast amounts of work still to do and vast amounts of cardboard still required, because you wouldn't believe, or maybe you would if you know No-Dig Garden, but you go through a hell of a lot of cardboard, I can assure you. And this is all of our moving stuff and more stuff collected from our local neighbourhood, and we still need so much more because it's only really done 10 feet. So that's not a vast amount, but that's the plan for this coming winter. We're going to keep rolling this bed all the way down to the bottom using cardboard and mushroom compost and getting as many winter veggies in as possible, and then preparing it for spring. So thank you for joining me on this little tour around the market garden. Obviously there isn't a vast amount to show you because we're just starting and it's also October. But I hope that I can show you, I hope that I've managed to show you some of the stuff that we're going to do, some of the plans that we've got, a few things that we're thinking about in terms of the permaculture, working with nature, because although obviously we're going to have pests, we're also going to have helpers in the forms of birds and things that come and eat all those bugs. If you've got any questions, as always, please just pop them in the comments, or if you're on Facebook, come across and join Facebook's Brimwood Farms community group, and you can ask questions in there too. But for now, I am going to go and try and put on a little bit more compost and cardboard. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe if you want to see more of our journey, and I will see you again very soon. Bye bye.